If you're brave enough to uncover the truth, smash that like button, because this story will make you question everything you thought you knew about money. It began with a single email, a bland, harmless-looking message that landed in the inbox of a retired schoolteacher from Ohio. The subject line read, "Urgent. Update your bank details." Within minutes, she clicked the link, and her life savings vanished. But what looked like a simple phishing scam was just the surface of something far bigger, a billion-dollar empire deception that stretched from the quiet suburbs of America to digital fortresses in Europe and Asia. The FBI's cybercrime division had seen scams before: identity theft, ransomware, dark web sales. But this was different. Entire networks of fake businesses, fraudulent charities, and cloned websites were running like clockwork. Every transaction was traceable to one digital fingerprint, a signature left in code: the Falcon Protocol. Special Agent Dana Whitlock had been chasing cybercriminals for over a decade, but she'd never seen anything like this. Every lead she followed dissolved into encrypted shadows. Each server she traced led to another, in Moscow, Lagos, Bucharest, Manila. But one clue stood out: a series of payments disguised as small donations to the Blue Harbor Initiative, a supposed nonprofit helping veterans. It wasn't real. The organization was a ghost, yet millions of dollars were flowing through it. By the end of that week, Dana's team discovered that the Blue Harbor servers were hosted in Colorado, right inside the United States. And the IP address linked to the server belonged to a legitimate financial analytics company called Viridian Systems, known for government contracts and defense data processing. The FBI suspected an insider. When agents raided Viridian's office, they expected to find hidden drives or suspicious employees. What they found instead were empty workstations, abandoned computers, and one surveillance monitor still running, showing a live feed from a data center in Iceland. The timestamp blinked red, looping every 3 minutes. Someone was watching them back. Dana ordered a full forensic sweep. Her team found a message buried in the system logs, a digital taunt: "You're looking in the wrong country." That night, another attack hit. The Federal Reserve's small transaction servers began experiencing mysterious delays, affecting thousands of online payments nationwide. Within hours, over $15 million disappeared in microtransactions, so small that most banks didn't even notice. Every stolen cent pointed back to the Falcon Protocol. And behind it all was a name that kept surfacing in dark web chat rooms: the broker. No photos, no confirmed identity, just a reputation. He doesn't steal from people, he steals people's money for them. Dana's investigation reached a critical point when she traced a pattern in the payment structures. Every 72 hours, funds would move through a shell company, one of hundreds registered in Delaware, then vanish offshore through cryptocurrency mixers. But the code used to move those funds wasn't standard. It was military-grade encryption, almost identical to the systems Viridian had developed for the Pentagon years earlier. Someone inside the U.S. defense contracting world had built the foundation for the cybercrime empire, and they were still operating within government networks. At dawn, Agent Whitlock received a call from her informant in Prague, a hacker known only as Milo. He'd managed to infiltrate one of the Falcon servers, but his message was short and panicked: "They're laundering through the banks that hold your pensions. You're not safe. No one is." The line went dead. 2 hours later, Milo's apartment in Prague was raided. His servers were wiped clean before police even arrived. No sign of forced entry. No traces of his hardware. Just a sticky note on his desk that read, "Stop digging." Dana felt the pressure closing in. Someone high up didn't want this investigation to continue. But what terrified her most wasn't the hacking or the stolen billions. There was a growing evidence that the money was being used to fund U.S. projects, both foreign and domestic. By the end of the week, her team received an encrypted drive delivered anonymously to FBI headquarters. No return address. Inside was a single file, a spreadsheet listing hundreds of American companies, all receiving donations from Blue Harbor. Every name connected to federal contracts. At the bottom of the list, highlighted in red, was Viridian Systems. Next to it, her own name, Agent Dana Whitlock. Her hands trembled as she scrolled to the last line of the document. It read, "You're part of it, Dana. And by the time you realize how deep this goes, it'll already be too late. The encrypted file sat open on Dana Whitlock's desk long after midnight. The glow from her monitor flickered across her face as she stared at her own name, typed neatly in that spreadsheet. Proof she'd somehow been linked to the very system she was trying to expose. Outside, Washington, D.C. was quiet. Too quiet. In her gut, she knew the storm was only beginning. 3 hours later, her office badge stopped working. When she tried to log into the FBI mainframe, her access was denied. Her partner, Agent Lewis, called from a burner phone. "Dana, someone just flagged your credentials in the system. You've been locked out of the investigation." Official reason, internal review. Her stomach sank. Internal review was bureau code for your being watched. Dana drove straight to a safe house, a quiet apartment in Arlington she'd used for years during undercover ops. There, she plugged an encrypted drive again and ran a full decryption scan using off-grid software. Hidden deep inside the Blue Harbor file, she found a second folder labeled Project Echelon. It contained detailed logs of government defense payments, not stolen funds, but real transfers, billions routed through fake charities and digital shells. Viridian Systems wasn't laundering money for criminals. They were laundering with them. Every document carried the same security watermark. U.S. Department of Commerce, Defense Liaison Division. That meant only one thing. This cybercrime network had government fingerprints all over it. Meanwhile, the media had started catching hints of the chaos. A leaked report from an independent cybersecurity firm revealed that federal funds were being siphoned through compromised accounts, but the report vanished hours after publication. The firm's website was taken down, and their CEO issued a retraction, claiming data misinterpretation. Dana knew better. That wasn't a mistake. It was damage control. She reached out to Milo's old darknet contact, an anonymous coder who went by the name Spectre. Spectre was known for one thing: finding digital ghosts, files that had been deleted but still lingered in the code. When Dana shared fragments of Project Echelon, Spectre replied instantly, "You're poking a live wire. This isn't about money laundering anymore. This is state-backed. Someone's buying silence." Dana asked, "Silence or what?" The reply came minutes later. "For funding operations the public can't ever know about." At that same hour, an emergency meeting convened inside FBI headquarters. Senior officials, including Assistant Director Morris, discussed containment strategies. Dana's name came up 3 times. One of the agents, a younger officer she'd mentored, secretly recorded the meeting and sent the audio file to her. In it, Morris said, "If Whitlock keeps pushing, she's going to expose things that will cripple us. Shut her down quietly." By morning, a warrant was issued for Dana's arrest under the Patriot Act. Suspected cooperation with cybercriminal networks. Her bank accounts were frozen, her phone lines disabled, her car tracked. In less than 24 hours, she'd gone from investigator to fugitive. But Dana wasn't done. She met Spectre in person, an unassuming young man with wire-rimmed glasses, sitting in a dimly lit diner off I-70 in Maryland. He handed her a hard drive wrapped in brown paper. "This is the original Echelon schema. If you leak it, they'll burn you. But if you hide it long enough, they'll destroy themselves trying to find it." Dana opened the drive and froze. Inside were contracts showing that several major tech companies, including ones handling U.S. surveillance data, had received direct transfers from shell companies tied to Blue Harbor. The money wasn't just disappearing. It was being funneled into building advanced tracking systems, AI models designed to monitor financial behavior on a global scale. The Falcon protocol wasn't a scam. It was a prototype. The next day, Dana's safe house was breached. Black SUVs parked quietly outside before dawn. She escaped through a service tunnel moments before agents stormed the building. From a nearby ridge, she watched as they confiscated her computers and hard drives. But they didn't find the Echelon drive. She'd hidden it in a hollowed-out copy of the R-War inside a library drop box miles away. Now, her only option was to go public. She arranged a meeting with investigative journalist Rachel Owens, known for exposing government corruption. Rachel agreed to meet her in Denver, far from D.C. surveillance network. But the night before the meeting, Rachel's car exploded outside her apartment complex. The cause was listed as a mechanical failure. Dana didn't believe it for a second. By then, the FBI had labeled her a rogue agent. Every news outlet ran the same story. Whitlock had gone missing with classified data. But inside one of Iridium's abandoned data centers in Colorado, Dana found something they hadn't erased, a single server still running under an alias. When she accessed it, she discovered an internal message chain between Viridian executives and several federal agencies. One line repeated over and over, "Activate Falcon. Silence the leak." She stared at the screen as realization hit. She wasn't the leak. She was a target. And as the server began to auto-delete itself, the last message flashed on her monitor. Dana Whitlock has access-restricted data. Initiate containment protocol. She unplugged the system just in time, capturing a final snapshot of an encrypted image. Coordinates in Nevada, a location linked to a classified defense project. If she could get there, she might finally uncover who the broker really was. But deep down, she already knew whoever was behind Falcon wasn't working against the government. They were the government, and she was running out of time. The shaky recording began with those words. Dana Whitlock sat alone in an abandoned cabin deep in the Nevada desert. Her face was pale from exhaustion, her eyes fixed on the lens of a dusty camcorder. The desert wind howled through cracks in the wooden walls, and the soft hum of a generator filled the silence. Behind her, maps and printouts covered the walls, government memos, transfer logs, and satellite photos marked with red string. Each line connected pieces of a puzzle she spent months chasing. Project Falcon. She pressed record again and whispered to herself, "This is it. Either I expose them or I disappear." For 2 weeks, Dana had been off the grid, tracking the Nevada coordinates from a Viridian server. They led her to a military facility disguised as a private logistics hub near Tonopah. The sign at the gate read, "Falcon Systems, Defense Infrastructure Division." But Falcon wasn't a defense contractor. It was a data laundering front, the beating heart of the $10 billion cybercrime empire she'd uncovered. She had infiltrated the site posing as a systems auditor, using 4 credentials and an ID from a defunct Department of Energy contract. What she found inside made her stomach twist. Hundreds of servers lined the warehouse, all running silent, cooled by industrial fans. Each machine bore the same label, BH/F 22 node. She knew what that meant, Blue Harbor Falcon, Node 22. Every node was connected to a global network of offshore accounts, digital wallets, and cryptocurrency exchanges, all masking the same origin. Redirected U.S. government disbursements. The funds weren't stolen. They were rerouted, hidden within defense spending and humanitarian aid budgets, only to reappear in the hands of tech contractors and foreign partners. When Dana accessed one of the live servers, she saw transactions updating in real time, millions of dollars shifting every few minutes, tagged with names she recognized: Operation Sentinel, Nexus Alpha, Echelon 3. Then came a message that froze her blood. "Welcome, Agent Whitlock. You were never supposed to see this." She turned. A tall man in a dark suit stood in the doorway, hands folded calmly. No weapon, no threat, just presence. "You must be the broker," she said quietly. The man smiled faintly. "The broker is a title, not a person. But yes, I manage Falcon's operations." Dana's voice shook. "You're stealing billions in public funds." He shook his head, redirecting. "For global stability. You think the government doesn't know? They designed it. Every cybercrime ring you've been chasing is part of a control system. Chaos we can manage." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You wanted to catch the criminals, Agent Whitlock. Congratulations. You found them. You just didn't realize they were sitting in your own office." Her heart pounded. "I'll expose you." He smiled again, slow, calm, terrifying. "That's why you were chosen. Every operation needs a scapegoat. You were perfect, loyal, intelligent, disillusioned. You'll go missing. Your files will vanish. And in 6 months, someone new will replace you. The system survives. It always does." He turned and walked toward the exit, leaving her in the echoing server room. But Dana wasn't done. She'd already uploaded fragments of the Falcon files to multiple hidden servers, programmed to auto-release if she didn't log in every 24 hours. Her voice trembled as she whispered to the camera. They built a network that launders money through your taxes, your data, and your devices. Every time you make a digital transaction, they profit. This isn't just corruption, it's architecture. And it's everywhere. She paused, breathing hard. If this video goes public, it means I didn't make it. Moments later, the lights flickered. A high-pitched whine filled the air. Security drones sweeping the perimeter. Dana grabbed her laptop and ran to the back door, disappearing into the desert night. Hours later, the facility went up in flames. The official story called it a fuel explosion. No survivors reported. But in the digital shadows of the internet, something strange happened. Dozens of encrypted data files appeared simultaneously on darknet forums, independent journalism sites, and whistleblower channels, all marked with the same label, Falcon Exposure, uploaded by DW. Within 48 hours, the files went viral. Reporters confirmed that some of the listed companies were legitimate U.S. defense partners. Investigations began quietly, but within weeks, the coverage stopped. Links vanished. News anchors recanted stories. And then, silence. Months later, a grainy CCTV clip surfaced online. It showed a woman resembling Dana Whitlock crossing the border into Canada with a duffel bag and a single suitcase. The timestamp was 2 days after the Falcon explosion. No one ever confirmed if it was really her. The FBI officially closed the Falcon investigation in 2025, citing lack of credible evidence. Viridian Systems was quietly absorbed by another tech firm with no public record of ownership. But on encrypted message boards, a single post appeared under the username Spectre_01. Falcon wasn't destroyed. It evolved. The message included a line of code, an update to the Echelon framework. It ended with Dana's personal encryption key, and one haunting phrase. If you think you're safe online, you're already part Falcon. The camera fades. The screen turns black, and then the final words appear in white. If you think this story was wild, wait until you hear what happened to the man who tried to bring Falcon back. Subscribe before they find this video too.